covering the world of professional wrestling from post to post. A show for the busted open nation. This is the Nation's Corner. Here are your hosts, Front Row, Debhausen and Tony Justice.
Hey, what's up, pro wrestling fans? Welcome to the Nation's Corner. Sorry we're a few minutes late. We're having some technical difficulties. As you can see, we have a ghost participant in our corner here tonight that won't seem to go away, but we'll just ignore that for the time being. We also did have some interviews planned for tonight. We do have those videos. We're going to post them up on the YouTube channel either later tonight or tomorrow, but we'll talk through some of that stuff. Tonight, I'm joined, as always, by Debhausen. Tony is unable to join us this evening, but we're also joined by our friends who were with us in St. Louis at the NWA Weekend, Trenda and Neil. Trenda, how are we doing tonight?
I'm great. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around these past 4 days that we had in St. Louis. Just an awesome time.
Yeah. How about you, Neil? You recovered yet?
A little. My hands actually feel back to normal before all the clapping that we did for all 4 nights. And my voice is starting to get back to normal finally, but I wouldn't trade it for the world, and I can't wait to do it again.
Awesome. So Deb, how was your week? We're going to ask you to maybe sort of steer the ship a little bit tonight.
All right. So my week was okay, except for the fact that I was not in St. Louis with y'all. I feel very left out that I don't have a special t-shirt. I did not get that wonderful St. Louis food y'all are raving about.
Yeah.
I feel left out. However, I am happy for you guys that you had a wonderful weekend and have so many stories to tell.
Yeah, so let's jump right into it. So we'll start with some of the travel successes and failures. We're going to talk a lot about all the great stuff that happened, in St. Louis at the NWA events, but we did encounter some issues with the location itself. Food options were somewhat limited because of the hours were limited due to whether it was just lack of staffing or, results of COVID and things like that. But the places that we did find, we did have some tremendous food. We did get to go to Salt and Smoke, I think it was a barbecue place, was great. We had the very delicious Domino's, which was, as we say, what is our new qualification for food?
Are you open?
Are you open? That's right. That's it. Are you open? That's our bare minimum.
You get 5 stars, right? Reviews. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we all arrived at different points in time, but we all sort of got there around Saturday morning. We went from the plane directly to the Chase hotel, and the Chase is gorgeous, by the way. Like, the venue itself was absolutely stunning. It was enormous. They had a movie theater at one wing. Like, one wing of it was a full movie theater.
Inside the hotel, yes. Yeah. That was amazing to see.
So upstairs is the Coruscant Ballroom where the events were, and then downstairs was the meet and greet area, which was actually a pretty good sized room. And I'm just real quickly going to run through the name of people that I spoke to, and we'll talk about them individually. But just the folks that I had actual conversations with: Aaron Stevens, Mickey James, Tim Storm, Powerrr, Deanna Perrazzo, Lady Frost. Rick, we didn't talk to Rick. Poyo Domar, Masha Slamovich, Sky Blue rather, Chelsea Green, Sal Renaro, James Storm, Powerrr, Odinson, Nick Aldis, Medusa, Kratos, Colby Carino, Joe Galley, Tim Storm, Velvet, and Layla Hirsch. And those are just the people that I spoke to on Saturday. And I know Trenda and Neil, you guys spoke with other people as well.
nowhere near as many people as you spoke to.
Well, you talked to some of the same people.
Some of the
You led
same
the
people.
charge.
Yeah. For me, oh wow, Mickey James, Deanna Perrazzo, Kiara Hogan, the tag team women champions, Allison and Marty Bell, um, Gail Kim, oh my God. I mean, just I'm sure I'm forgetting some people, but yeah, those are the ones that stand out at the top of my head. I had conversations with for sure.
Okay, good
Yes,
deal.
I know. An awesome call on the interview.
So I did want to talk about that briefly, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But so at the meet and greets, they had it broken out where on Saturday it was the folks who were going to be on NWA73 on Sunday. So we got to do the meet and greets for folks on Saturday who had not yet wrestled. Sunday we went to the Fan Fest was focused on the Empowerr pay-per-view, which was cool because we got to talk to people. We got to talk to people who were already performed, right? So it was pretty neat. We got to get their feedback and their perspective on the event as it had occurred. So let's talk a little bit about that. On Saturday, we were ringside, we were front row, and we sat right behind.
Surprise, surprise.
We did get to sit right behind commentary and watching Joe Galley and Tim Storm and Velvet Sky. You could hear the excitement. And, we get to talk to Joe a lot throughout the weekend. Joe was very, very nice to us. And I did want to give the NWA folks a huge shout out. Everyone there was really supportive. They were kind to us and they showed us a lot of love. So, Trenda, before we talk about the pay-per-view itself, like what was your sort of vibe going into it on Saturday?
Saturday had a whole different vibe for me, totally different than the other 3 days. I mean, it just seemed more important. There was an urgency in the air. There was a passion almost in the air of the dynamic of just, by it being a women's event and Saturday just seemed like it meant so much more in itself, just because all these different women from different promotions got to come in one location and showcase their talents, and they were working hard too. Like there was no mishaps, there was no there was only respect for everybody, and I just have a totally different respect now for just the whole promotion, just being able to see what I saw on Saturday and the whole show.
How about you, Neil?
It was amazing. Obviously, sitting front row with you and Trenda and Mrs. Front Row and Tony, and just experiencing it just right there, like it's in your face. Like I've never actually sat front row like that at a pay-per-view or any wrestling event, and just to see it like right there, and you can see it and you can feel it and hear it, and the emotion and the physical struggle that they went through in the matches made me appreciate them even more than I already did. And like you had said, front row, we could hear commentary a little because we were so close to it. Just to catch glimpses of hearing them while watching the match, I was just blown away by it. And the women, every match, they just killed it. Like the entire card, every match was amazing. And I've watched it twice already since we've gotten home, and it's that same feeling watching it and being there. It just I can't. It's hard to explain, but it was phenomenal.
So I will say, from my perspective, at home, not at St. Louis, at home, watching it on my TV, I got a similar feeling just sitting here watching it on TV. Just you could feel the energy from the crowd through the TV. You can feel that it was special. You can feel that it was an amazing experience. And I don't know how many times we all said that whole weekend, but especially Saturday, like our friends are witnessing something special right now. They're there for something really special and really historic. And we all felt that.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, throughout the event, I didn't use my phone a whole bunch because we were sort of caught up in the moment, but I did get some messages and texts from people from Busted Open and from other organizations who were watching it live at home. And someone texted me and said, "Do you realize like Ronda Rousey is live tweeting this?" And it was just like people in outside the wrestling bubble, people not that Ronda is, but like people in news outlets, people in ESPN and Yahoo, and like all these folks were tweeting about this thing, and it was trending number 2 in the country, not for wrestling, but trending. And so for me to just see, because I know we spoke with Mickey and got a feel for her, like from her, like how much work really went into this and how much effort there was, and to see people from 5 different companies participate in this women's pay-per-view. And so Deb, when Mickey spoke to open the show, she said something that I hadn't really considered. And it was that this was the first time wrestling was returning to the chase, and it was for a women's pay-per-view. Yeah. Right. And I was like, holy crap, like that's huge. Like that's really cool. So what did that mean to you?
That means a whole hell of a lot. I mean, we heard Billy Corgan on Busted Open talking about, you know, how the Chase hasn't accepted any wrestling shows in a very long time. And he was honored to be the first show in the company that was able to bring it back. But yeah, it never really like dawned on me before until she said that. Like, yeah, we have NWA coming back to the Chase, but nobody had mentioned before that the first people that would be in the ring were all the women. And I feel like that's probably very on purpose, that that shows how much NWA thinks so highly of the women in wrestling that they would put them on first, and they would have that magical moment first before we had 73.
Yeah, and I think just like the shirt says, the empowerment, it shows the empowerment of these women. I mean, they've put a spotlight on one of their local talent in their Tooting Lynn, to the point where you would have thought she was a main eventer, you know what I mean, and the show, and just everybody that was there, they worked so hard. I mean, there was no half stepping in that ring. I mean, and you can just feel it was so emotional, like in the air. It was just a emotional night. That's all I can say.
Yeah. So let me just give let me try this here. I'm gonna play an interview that I did get to pull up with Mickie James for a couple of minutes on Sunday after the pay-per-view. I'm gonna give this a try. I know we've had some technical difficulties, but I think we can get this working. Give me one moment. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Nation's Corner. We are here live in person in St. Louis, and I'm here with the legend, the executive producer of NWA Empowerr, Mickie James. Mickie, we were ringside last night, and it was absolutely incredible. The energy in the room was electric. What was it like for you? Were you able to sort of soak it in last night?
I was trying. I mean, I was running back and forth, and just I need to go back and watch it and sit down and just watch it as a whole, because there was so much happening. The venue, like the arena inside, was just so electric. It's so electric. It was just amazing. It was an amazing night.
Yeah, we saw Camille really have one of her toughest challenges last night against legit Layla Hirsch. but she came off the victor and retained.
Yeah.
How do you think she's going to fare tonight against Chelsea Green at NWA73?
I think, Camille, I've said it from day one, Camille is a thoroughbred. She is a premier athlete in every sense of the word. And, I knew that she was going to be a dominant champion. And I knew that last night was going to have to be an incredible match. And I will say that Layla showed up and showed out. And it was just an incredible match for both of them. I also know that Chelsea, especially after coming off winning the cup last night, she's on fire right now, and she's got a lot of points to prove. And I feel her on that because I know what that feels like. And so it's going to be a tough matchup tonight. I'm interested because, like I said, it was like, the title could potentially change hands, 2 nights in a row. So obviously it didn't change hands the first night, but I don't know what to expect tonight. So,
well, it's exciting. Across the entire card, we saw obviously legends and veterans like yourself and the surprise of Awesome Punk. But then we saw people who were maybe lesser known fans, like Thunder Kid, one of our personal favorites from the Charlotte shows. So, do you think that this is now going to become, possibly based on the success of last night, an annual event?
I hope so. We're going to keep our fingers crossed.
Okay, let's do that.
Will you cross them? And
yes.
your toes, if you can do that. If you can physically cross toes, we're going to do that together.
Yes. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I
Good luck
appreciate it.
and congratulations.
Thank you.
There we go.
Yeah.
Legend herself.
That was awesome. Are we back?
Did we lose Neil?
Oh, there he is.
Neil.
There's Neil.
So
yeah, that was
great.
Great.
It was so cool talking to her, after the pay-per-view and just getting her. She was very nervous on Saturday, and by Sunday she was like, this was awesome. Like, it was a home run.
Yeah, you can tell she was relieved.
Yeah.
By Sunday. Yeah.
I do have to say, the half dress, half suit thing she was wearing on Saturday, props to her. She looked amazing. And I said to those of us on Zoom, I said, it's like, she's half, sexy woman and half boss. And I think that's what she was really relaying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had a chance to talk to a few other folks, and I did want to play in an interview. We spoke with Lady Frost on, I believe this was Saturday, so this was before the pay-per-view, and she's become a friend of ours and a good friend of the show. She was kind enough to join us the week before we went to St. Louis. So let me play this for you guys and get your thoughts on this. What's up, everybody? This is Tony and Front Row from Nation's Corner. We're here with Lady Frost, participant in the first ever NWA Women's pay-per-view last night. Lady Frost, last night was amazing. What was it like for you?
I can't really put it into words. I'm still high from last night. It was incredible, as you said. It was an honor, and there was so much incredible talent backstage.
So you came up a little bit short in the Invitational Cup. Okay, regroup, time to regroup and replan. Will we see more of you in upcoming NWA episodes, maybe?
Sure.
Yeah? Excellent. We'll be here all week for the Powerrr tapings, and of course tonight for NWA73. We'll see you later. Okay, so we did record that afterwards. I couldn't remember. So you guys have to excuse us. We did 4 hours. We did 3 hours of meet and greets on Saturday, plus the pay-per-view, which was 3.5 hours long, and then the pay-per-view and meet and greets on Sunday, and then tapings Monday and Tuesday. So I think it was like 18 hours of wrestling plus another 6 hours of meet and greets. So my sense of timing is completely screwed up right now.
Which is another reason why I have so much respect for the wrestlers and all the staff and everybody there, because if that's what we did, imagine how much time and effort they put in those 4 days just to make what we saw happen.
Yeah, it's an enormous amount of work. And I know, Neil, you were talking about that too, about, you know, just seeing security running around throughout the day, trying to keep everybody in order. we may or may not have
Security
seen
trying to keep
security
everybody in
handle some
order.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some things that we cannot talk about.
Some things you had to be there for. So on the pay-per-view, for me personally, the two matches that I enjoyed the most were, of course, the women's Invitational Cup, which was so cool to see. You know, we saw the veterans, we saw the newcomers, we saw some folks who were lesser known, but there were some real standouts in there. We saw Chelsea Green obviously winning it. And at the end, and I posted a picture, I think a lot of people posted this picture in the screen grab of her holding up that sign that says, you know, this isn't women's wrestling, this is wrestling. Like, this is pro wrestling. And it was really cool.
Yes.
I tweeted that night.
So personally,
it, like, the whole show from beginning to end was absolutely phenomenal. And I tweeted that night that I wish women's wrestling was like that when I was a kid. Especially there was a moment where the camera showed a group of little girls kind of squatting down by the barricade in the front row. And I just thought, like, how lucky those 7 or 8 year old girls are that they could watch women's wrestling like this instead of the way it was when I grew up in the 90s.
Exactly, Deb. I felt the same exact way because I was sitting next to the little girls, encouraging them to come up to the front barricade because I was in the front row. And even just kind of talking to them, and I was just kind of leaning over at certain points, asking them, did they like wrestling and who their favorite person was, and they were Lady Frost fans, and so it just seeing them, it was amazing. It was amazing. They had like such a glow in their eyes, and I'm like, if this wrestling was like this when we were little, to have that type of motivation, like who could I have been?
Right.
Who could I have become?
Yeah, and so it's really cool because we get to sort of be part of some stuff behind the scenes, and again, thank you to the NWA folks for letting us be part of all that.
Yes.
But we saw them interacting. I saw Layla Hirsch, and when she walks, like in real life, she walks with a purpose. Like, you don't want to get in her way.
Yes. She reeks of dominance. She reeks of dominance. But even on another level, Camille, the NWA Women's Champ, she reeks of not just dominance, but she has like this stature, this uniqueness to her,
poise.
And at the same, exactly, Deb. That's the word, a poise that just reeks across the whole room. And at the same time, she was the nicest person in it.
I believe that.
Trent, to talk about your time with Camille.
So when we first got in there, I wore my Camille shirt the night before at the pay-per-view. At the Empowerr pay-per-view. I wore Camille. And so as soon as we got in there, she was like one of the first persons that I wanted to get a picture and an autograph with. But at the time, not really knowing the setup, they had a system which props to NWA again, just for every woman in there, like they had like the top, I want to say maybe 15 women that were on the cards. It didn't matter who you were, the price was the same. Everybody was $20 per photo. So you go over there and you choose which women that you wanted a photo with, and they give you these little cards or whatever, and then you take it over there and give it to the person that's like your payment already. But so initially when I got there, I didn't know about the cards and everything. And I went over there and I got my autograph with her. But but I'm kind of standing there and she's like standing there like again with this dominance and this pose and this this Camille-ness. And I'm standing there for almost like 3 minutes, like, okay, I want to go there, but I'm not sure. But I'm like, okay, forget this. I'm going over there. So I walk over there to her, and she was like, oh, so she's like, how do you like the show and everything? And I'm like, it was great. And I was like, I'd like an autograph and a picture. And she said, okay, well, I can give you the autograph now, but the picture, that's how I learned to get the cards. She told me I had to go get the cards and everything. So I'm like, okay. So that little conversation was like really quick and everything. And I'm like, okay, thank you. She gave me my autograph. I went over there, bought my cards. And actually, because of like, again, this poise, this dominance about her, I kind of hit a couple of more people before I went back to get my picture. But when I went back, she was like, hey, it trended. Like, she remembered my name and she was like, I knew you were coming back. Now you're gonna have to help me hold the bird in the picture. And I'm like, what? And then it was like a whole 360 type of person from the one that just signed the paper. But I mean, then after that, we took our pictures, and then she had me look at the phone, and she was like, I don't like those. And she told him to take them over. So I got pictures with her holding the bell, and then it was just awesome. I mean, it was awesome. But she has her persona and her she's definitely the champ. You can feel it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So someone else that we got to meet this weekend was the current Impact Knockouts champion, Deonna Purrazzo. And I want to play in the little interview I did with her, and then we can talk about our experiences speaking with her, because she was awesome. She was like all kinds of cool. All right, so check this out. What's up, folks? Welcome to Nation's Corner. I am here with Deonna Purrazzo, the Knockouts champion. Deonna, you've been part of a big part of an incredible night last night. What was it like being in that room?
Yeah, the energy of that room was incredible. Everyone celebrating women's wrestling is something I've dreamt about since I was a little girl, so to be a part of this entire weekend has been amazing.
We've seen some surprises. We saw some Kong last night. You fought a hard-fought battle. Outside of your own match, what was maybe one of your highlights of the night as a fan?
Definitely Chelsea Green winning that Invitational Cup. She's going to challenge Camille tonight at NWA73. We went through a very similar journey the last couple of years to get where we are today, and to see her be thriving makes me so happy, because I mean, she's my best friend, she's like my sister, so when she succeeds, I succeed, so I'm so happy for her.
That's exciting. So what's next for you for Impact, from Challenge from Impact?
You know what? We have Impact tapings coming up in September. And you know, I don't know who's going to step up to the plate now that I'm looking for new challengers, but we have Bound for Glory in October, so I'll be scouting everyone. We'll see.
Well, I know as fans, we're hoping this Forbidden Door maybe starts to swing both ways, and maybe we start to see some AEW challengers.
I would love that. I have been very vocal the last 6 months, 8 months, since the Forbidden Door has been open, about wrestling Sheeta or Britt Baker. So, TK, whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.
And there she was.
That was cool.
Yeah, she was great. And, not to tell tales, but she curses a lot in real life, which is great.
As a real woman should.
But don't we all?
Yes.
So before we go into some of the other interviews, Neil, who are some of the folks that you were looking forward to meet that you did get to meet this weekend?
Well, obviously Mickey James. I kind of met Genocide while I was kind of, but that's a story for a different day. Marty Bell and Allison Kay, they were very nice to talk to and meet. Lady Frost. I met Masha Slamovich and Sky Blue, Mickey James, and then I met Deanna Perrazzo again. And every time I meet her and I get to talk to her, it's just, she just seems to become more of like a friend. Like it's talking to a, like I'm talking to one of you guys. I'm not talking to like Deanna Perrazzo, the Impact and AAA Women's Champion, who's this professional wrestler and global star. Like I'm talking to somebody that's just a regular friend, and she's just always so nice and pleasant. But I'd say I guess one that I didn't get to meet that I really wanted to meet was Camille, because like Trenda said, her presence and her aura just kind of, you know, intimidated me a little to where I just couldn't bring myself to go up there and
Don't
meet
worry,
her,
Neil. I
'cause
pumped
just
myself
when she
up to
sits
do it. I'm
down-
like, okay, forget it. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Forget that. I want it.
Oh yeah.
No, Camille's
Just
interesting
her
because. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, just her sitting there, and she just sits at the table, and she's got that stone face, and she's just
Yeah.
petting her dog. Dog's sitting there, and she's just waiting for people, and I'm just like, I couldn't do it. Maybe the next time I'll bring myself to meet Camille.
So you're gonna have to go to Atlanta just to meet Camille.
Oh.
When we were in Baltimore last, I had we're staying for seeing Nicholas there. It's like, oh, he looks amazing. I don't know if I can walk him. I checked.
Oh, you're cutting out a bit, Deb.
Oh, shit.
All right, why don't you hit the reset button and we'll wait for you to rejoin. So I talked to Camille as well. We were, at the tapings in June. It was a small group of people there, and here comes Deb.
There we go.
Yeah, you're still breaking up a little bit, but we got you. So I was just saying that we were, at the tapings in June and at the pay-per-view where Camille won her title, and we were seated with Camille's parents. So I got to sit with them and experience them reacting and enjoying that moment. And I talked to her a little bit this weekend about that. And she said her mom just can't even watch the matches, like, because Camille is a hard-hitting competitor. Those aren't, this is some pretty serious.
Yes.
And you guys know, like, we saw Camille face legit Layla Hirsch, and personally, I think that was their best match yet.
Wow, and Layla Hirsch herself,
They
yeah,
brought
that
it.
match. Ooh, both of them, we were sitting there like, okay, they hitting really hard in this ring, like you could feel the pressure just from them. Yeah, they had an awesome match, and they were not holding anything back. Like I almost thought somebody owed somebody money in there. Like they were really.
So
I
for
think
me,
as much as Camille has a presence about her, I think Layla Hirsch does too. Even though she's short, like she has the boss feeling.
Yeah, as I said earlier, she walked through that hallway with such dominance.
Mm-hmm.
She's
like,
4'11" and she just parted the seas. You people
exactly.
saw her
That's
coming.
exactly. She just everybody moved out the way and just let her through.
Just move.
So someone else that we didn't expect to have any conversations with, wasn't listed on the meet and greets at all because she was a surprise, was Awesome Kong. And, we were at the Fan Fest during the day, and she was not part of the Fan Fest. So I didn't in any way expect that we would get a chance to talk to her. But when we came back in to do the press stuff, she was standing there, and I said to the guy who was helping us out, I said, is Awesome Kong doing interviews. And he said, well, she's only doing a couple. She's only here for a few minutes. And I looked at Trent. I said, you're doing this interview because I know how much she means to you. And Trent gave me a look. And then I left her there. So,
you abandoned her?
Literally left me there. But I thank God for Neil, because I had never been so nervous in my life. I was trying to wipe almost to the point I'm wiping my hands on Neil, like, Neil, my hands are soaking wet. Like, help me.
So let me play in this interview, and then you can talk a little bit about your experience. I do just want to say, we were in a room with a lot of people, and there was a lot of background noise. So you're going to have to turn up your volume a little bit to sort of hear it, but you can hear it pretty clearly. Just, don't mind the background noise.
Hi, this is Trenda, representing the Nation's Corner, standing with the amazing, awesome Kong. I am so happy to be here at this event. How did this come about? You weren't even listed on the card, or? No. Mickey James, the genius that she is, reached out to me, and I told her that I wasn't really wrestling anymore, but she's a very persuasive woman, and she was able to come up with a scenario that I felt appropriate to bookend my career, and that was that moment that we all saw last night with Gail. So we have Mickey James to thank for that. Wonderful woman.
And that moment last night, we got an amazing pop, a huge pop. Is this really the end?
Awesome Kong is retired from wrestling side of a ring.
Wow. So with that, I mean, are there any new things coming along? I know, the world is shut down, but I know you've been in, Roll, and you've been in other shows and everything. Do you have anything coming up that we should know about, or that we should be able to
None that I can specifically speak about, but yes, there are things in the works that made it necessary to retire. So
we will see you again. This is not going to be the end of Boston Con, just in the ring for that.
In the ring, Awesome Kong has been put to bed. Awesome Kong is retired. But as far as, Ian Stevens, I have moved on to the next chapter of my voyage.
Well, it's amazing. I it's just awesome that you're here. I just really appreciate the time.
Thank you.
All right. So what was that experience like?
Nerve-wracking. I was very nervous, but at the same time, she made me feel comfortable, which is another thing within itself, but just by, the experience that I had there that whole weekend with everybody. She made me feel comfortable. After that interview, she stood there with me. We talked for about a good 7 or 8 minutes about some other things that she says she has coming up in the works that no one really knows about. I talked about how I was a fan for such a long time, since her days in the WWE, and how my daughter and I used to watch her all the time. And, it's almost, I mean, I know I'm not, like in a part of this big world, but at that moment and in that moment in time, you're in this little bubble with these people, and they're like icons to you, and it was just amazing just to be there and to be able to talk to her. She only let 3 people interview her. And even though it was my first and everything, I can literally say I was one of them at that moment in time, at the end of her career. So I feel special in that sense. So, yeah.
Well, you set the bar high.
I was also a fan of hers when I first started watching WWE. I really liked her. We all know that I tend to gravitate towards the women wrestlers who aren't the typical, blonde model type. And when I first started watching wrestling, she was amazing. And then she left and disappeared for a while. And then Glow came along, and that show was absolutely phenomenal. And I'm really sad that it's over.
Isn't it funny that so many people during her career told her that she wasn't good on the mic, and here she is, an incredible actor. Like, you're watching her in the show going, no, she's really good.
Yes.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Mrs. Front Row points out that there was, when she entered, people were like, is it really her? And it was like this disbelief in the room. And then the realization that was her sort of washed over the crowd, and that pop rose up. It was so cool.
Not even that. I think, like Neil said, I probably watched it over 2 or 3 times since we've been home. But I could see where they raised the camera across where we were, and I'm literally jumping up and down, and I could see me crying with the tears, like, I can't believe it. And I'm like,
oh my God.
So, you and I weren't the only ones to do interviews this weekend. Our very own Tony was able to have a nice conversation with Tim Storm. And Tim Storm is, we've spoken to Tim a number of times at the tapings. He's been on our show before. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's just like so pleasant. He's an impressive, intimidating size human. But to talk to him in person, he's like very, very nice. So let me give you guys a peek on this, and we'll talk about it.
It's Tony Justice with the Nation's Corner here with Tim Storm. Tim, what were your thoughts on last night's historic event?
Oh, man. First off, I use the word over and over. History. First time in 37 years that wrestling has been at this historic location. Empowerr, all women's pay-per-view. From start to finish, top to bottom, incredible. What a ride that they took us on. And it was a pleasure to even have a small part in that. Get to be ringside, to get to watch some of those matches.
Right.
Honor.
And now to continue tonight with NWA73. What's your thoughts going into tonight's match?
I am incredibly focused on tonight's match. I'm in there with Tom Latimer and Crimson, and there's not a lot of cases where I'm in a match like that where everybody in the ring's bigger than me, and I did no secret, younger than me, maybe fitter than me. But on the positive side for me, it's brawl. It's brawl in the loo, and if I were going to go in there against those guys and try to have a technical matchup, I would not be playing to my strength. It's a fight. I'm an Arkansas boy that lives in Texas. This is what I do. This is my wheelhouse.
I'm a Texas boy myself.
Yeah, I know this. Absolutely. Right?
Yeah. Well, Tim Storm, I want to thank you for this interview and wish you luck tonight in your match.
I'll take all the luck I can get.
Oh yeah, man. Take care. Thank you guys.
And there he is. So yeah,
I just want to note right off that Tony is a lot paler than Tim Storm, but Tim Storm looks fantastic. but the contrast there, I don't know if Tony needs to go get some tanning or something. Just saying.
Oh,
anywho.
okay.
So let's shift gears a little bit into like some of the stuff that we saw at NWA73.
Yeah,
we're not doing a match by match breakdown, but of course, the moment when Ric Flair entered the room and being ringside for his promo, to see him in an NWA ring with a mic, and then hearing Billy Corgan speak on Busted Open about how he just told Rick, "You're Ric Flair. Here's a microphone. Go say whatever's from the heart." Mm-hmm. So Neil, what was it? How did you feel, seeing Ric Flair speak and sort of what his promo meant to you?
Well, the first time I had ever seen Ric Flair live, and to hear the music, to hear his entrance music, immediately gave me those chills and the goosebumps. And then to see him come
Yeah.
out, and he came out like Ric Flair only could, you know, looking like $1 million with the suit and the jewelry and everything. And then he gets in the ring, and it's like you're just standing there in awe and shock. You got goosebumps. You feel like a little kid again because it's Ric Flair. And I'm just like, oh, and I just stood there like my jaw was wide open. Like I just was in shock that he's that close to me. And then the promo and everything he said, I was just like, wow. And like you said, Billy said on Busted Open, just go out there. And he did. And I was like, holy shit, he's just out here and he's just going. And it was awesome. And then I started to get a little, emotional about him talking about all the other people he's faced here and what St. Louis meant to him when he was the NWA champion and just what it means for him to be back here in the NWA ring in the Chase ballroom. It was insane. And he started moving and he took off his jacket and hit the ropes. And I'm just like, okay, this is the Ric Flair. This is the Ric Flair that I remember from, the 90s and
Yeah.
everything. But it was just crazy. Just crazy and emotional to see Ric Flair.
I wanted to ask you guys if you felt in that moment that you were witnessing something historic. Because we all felt that on Zoom. All of us said, wow, they are there for a super historic moment. Like, this is something special. Did that dawn on you in that moment?
I mean, definitely in more ways than one. Because, like Neil said, to even be able to see Ric Flair live anywhere is historical for everybody. So that in itself is historical. But to be there, 73 at NWA 73, what that meant, being able to hand that title over to Trevor, to like Neil said, when he pulled the jacket off and did and leaned up against that road and did the strut, I felt like a kid. Like I'm like, this is awesome. This is everything that I've ever loved about wrestling, like the nostalgia of it. Like I was sitting there thinking, I wish my dad could be here at this moment with me to just share this moment with me because it was everything. And then again, kind of to piggyback on what Front Row says, that he had full range to say whatever he want. And I know you guys all know I'm a skeptic. So when the speech started, and he was talking about other promotions, my eyes was like, okay, I'm not sure where this is going, Rick, but I trust you because you're Rick, but okay, so and then when he said he wanted Randy Orton to break his record, and I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, like me too, like nobody but Orton. Like that's like, that was everything to me because Orton should be the one. I agree, Orton should be the one. Like, just to see the emotion in his face because he was able to say whatever he wanted and to thank whomever he wanted from wherever he wanted to thank them from. And that in itself was amazing to see. And just like Neil said, it was childhood all over again. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for me, the way the promo started, and even just to backtrack a little bit to what we were talking about earlier, everyone there made us feel like part of a family. Like we were all participating. We weren't just there to see a show. Every time I'm at the NWA, like I feel part of everything. And so when Ric Flair comes and says, the most important titles in the world are right here in this room, in this ring.
That's right.
The person who holds that NWA, that 10 pounds of gold, is the world's champion holding the most prestigious title in the world. And when Ric Flair puts his stamp on a community, that means something. You know what I mean? Like I felt like he was speaking to us in the room, but also to all of the fans who were watching, who took who show the respect and love for the history, legacy, and tradition, as they always say. So you could definitely feel it. So there's a few more folks that I want you guys to hear from. We were at the meet and greet for, no, I'm sorry, we were at the press event for Empowerr. And I forget who I was speaking with, and Aaron Stevens came through. And Aaron's been very nice to us. You guys probably saw some of the videos and stuff that we posted from the last set of tapings. And, you know, he checked in with us to see how we were doing, just to say hi. And he was kind enough to give us a couple of minutes of his time. I didn't see him do any other interviews. He may have, but I didn't see him do any other interviews. Yeah, true. True. But no, he is one of the nicest people. Throughout the weekend, we saw him. You know, you guys saw him backstage and you know, behind the curtains a few times, and he always made time to come over and talk to us. So yes, and Mrs. Front Row, yes, we did boo him loudly. I don't want to spoil anything. This isn't a spoilery show, but there's definitely a moment in the Powerrr season coming up where we definitely boo him incessantly and loudly. So which he then did thank my wife for later on. So let's hear. So yep. This was recorded on Sunday prior to NWA73. So at the time, he was still one half of the tag champions. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Nations. I am here with one half of the NWA World Tag Team Champions, Aaron Stevens. Aaron, you got a big match tonight defending the titles. You guys ready?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're ready as we can be, but I think with the chase, it's funny because the air is different here. The only thing I can equate it to is Madison Square Garden. When you walk out and the air is just a little bit heavier, you sense that there's something different. And again, I never thought I would have that feeling again unless I wrestled at the Garden. But here at the Chase, this is like the MSG of the Midwest.
So last night we witnessed the Empowerr pay-per-view. It was an amazing experience. What was it like as a fan for you to be there and see that?
It was just amazing. I think as an organization, we didn't want to throw it down people's throats that like, oh, this is all women. Look at what we're doing for women. No, we just kind of simply said like, hey, there are so many talented females out there. Let's give them a platform and let's let that platform speak for itself. And that's exactly what they did. They didn't hit a home run. They hit a grand slam.
Yeah, well, good luck tonight on your match.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it. We'll be there ringside.
Likewise. Take care. You too. Bye.
And then he would go on to lose his tag championship, but I don't think he was quite as ready as he thought. But it was great. It was great to talk with him.
So he touched on something that I wanted to ask you guys about, kind of the aura, the general aura in the room. He said, the air is heavier, that it feels special, that to him it feels like when he's been at MSG. Did you guys feel that as well throughout the weekend?
I did. When you first get there, it's a hotel. But as the people started to filter in and you start talking to the talents, and we were witnessing, not in the room, but we were witnessing people doing production and stuff like that, running in and out of meetings. When it all came together for Empowerr, it felt special. It felt like more than just an NWA show, which it turned out to be.
Right.
Trenda? Felt...
Yeah, sorry, it's like I want to say I could feel maybe the pressure that everybody was under. You know how earlier we were like, since the Empowerr day had went by, Mickie James looked so much more relieved. He was much more relaxed that next day. It was such a pressure in there for everybody to do great. For everybody to be great. And one thing I loved about the NWA, everybody put everybody over. I mean, even I mean, the crowd. I know we're used to booing and cheering, but it was such an awesome weekend to the point where you really wanted to cheer everybody. You know what I mean? For their efforts, for their ring presence, for their dominance, for their. I mean, it was just really hard to boo anybody, even the heels, because you know that they were in there giving it their all. I mean, and if that's what Aaron meant as far as the air being thicker and you can feel it, then yeah, I definitely noticed that, because I felt like everybody in there gave so much of themselves that weekend.
Okay.
Neil?
I walked in with an excitement, and then as you just said, front row, it's a hotel. But then you get closer and you get closer, and they scan your ticket. You walk in and you see it. It's like how I remembered when I first walked into Madison Square Garden the very first time, and it wasn't even for wrestling. It was for a music concert. It's just, you look around and you just, like Aaron said, the air does feel thicker. It feels like you belong there. Like you've made it to the big show where you have to give it your all. And I felt like we gave it our all as fans. I know we did. And just seeing the wrestlers give it their all and just go out there and just leave it all out there, it was amazing. The air did feel thicker, but it was just something indescribable. You know how he said Madison Square Garden? That's how I felt there.
Yeah, and Deb, just to add on what Neil's saying, so if you've been to a lot of wrestling shows, whether they're independent or some of the bigger companies, they look like a production. It's a production show.
Mm-hmm.
Here, it was in the Coruscant Ballroom, which is a legitimate ballroom, and all above the ring were these starlights. They were just, and you see it through some of the pictures that we've all posted, and you saw on social media and on the pay-per-view. But it was a whole different vibe. It was almost elevated just because it was such a nice environment. It was, the carpet was beautiful, the chairs were comfortable, like the whole feeling of it just felt more important. And then to layer on top of that the importance of the 37 years, the 34 years that had been since there were women's tag titles, which were won that night. It just kept building and building to the point where I know we all walked out that night feeling like we knew we were some part of something special in a very special place.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I did actually. So, of all the interviews that we did, the one that I was looking forward to the most, on Saturday, I had a chance to talk to Powerrr and Odinson. And if you guys remember, at the last set of tapings, or maybe it was the pay-per-view, Powerrr gave me quite the stare down, and he put it on his social media. It was a little frightening. But I did talk to him about that, and he and Odinson were very, very pleasant, as far as the meet and greet go. And we talked for a little while, and he was kind enough to come back the next day and do an interview with me. And I'll just to set the stage, my wife and I are big proponents of the LGBTQ community, and we consider ourselves allies, as our son is gay. And we have a very limited edition NWA Pride shirt that they produced for like a few months. And my wife was wearing the shirt the day of the interview. So we had to real quickly do a quick change and trade shirts. And so what you see is a very quick changed me interviewing Powerrr. So much respect to Mrs. Front Row. So let me play this in. I think you guys will appreciate this. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Nation's Corner. I am here with Powerrr, one half of the End. Tonight you have an exciting match. You're teaming with your tag team partner Odinson and the Pope. How are you preparing for tonight's match in NWA73?
Well, first and foremost, it's history. I know we keep repeating that over and over and over again, but for me personally, being an open wrestler, being in the historic Chase ballroom, Ric Flair, it gives you goosebumps. Last night, watching the ladies just literally take over. So I'm on a high right now. I'm on one of the biggest highs of my life. So getting ready and prepared, I'm gonna ball out tonight. I'm going to beat the crap out of Clear and Tyrus.
I believe it. Yeah, so we got home last night after watching the show, and the social media reaction was just incredible. Of everyone from Ronda Rousey to people across the entire industry were talking about how incredible Empowerr was. So now, here we come, NWA73. Do you think everyone's ready to do their best and maybe try to top that, as they say?
Last night, I got the opportunity to be a fan. I sat there and I couldn't control myself. If you watch me and you watch the show, I was yelling and screaming every moment. Like Kong coming out, I lost it. I went nuts. It was an opportunity to see how things are changing and moving forward in wrestling. NWA every time creates new opportunities to create history in wrestling. And that's why NWA is important. Because if you don't remember where wrestling came from, you can't move forward in wrestling. You can't change anything. And last night, those ladies went out there and changed everything. We have to step our game up now. We have to be bigger, better than anything. And we need to bring it because they brought it. The energy the crowd gave, I'm just hoping we have that energy to keep moving forward, because that was amazing. I don't know how you felt, but I personally was ready to go. I wanted to run in there. I wanted to wrestle. I was going to put myself in a match. I was backstage. I was running. I was told I couldn't go downstairs and say what a great match, because every match was so great. I just wanted to run and hug them, and they're like, that was so good. So I'm still have so much energy from last night. I haven't slept.
Yeah, I would pay folding money for Layla Hirsch's Power match any day of the week. Let's see.
I don't know. After the move she did, I'm not taking that German off the top rope. I'm afraid now.
So you mentioned inclusivity, and of course in the NWA right now, we see so many, especially on this whole weekend through Jamie Senegal and Kiera Hogan and Diamante and yourself and so many other people who are representing the community. What does that mean to you personally?
4 years ago, and I say this, 4 years ago when I came out, I kind of felt alone, that there was just a handful of us. Now I look around and we're not a stereotype. And that's the one most important thing I can say, is the fact that we're given the opportunity to be wrestlers and show our talent, that we're not just the stereotypical idea of what you think an LGBTQ wrestler would be. We're all completely, utterly different. And that's what's important. Like, you got to see Kiera, Diamante, Jamie, Polo. Like, you got to see what we're offering to you. I am not like any other open wrestler, and every open wrestler is not like me. We bring everything to the table just like our straight counterparts do.
Straight up and all off. Well, thank you so much for the time. I know you've got a lot to do to prepare for your match tonight. Good luck, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that was a fun moment.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Very, very cool.
So that was one of my favorite moments of the weekend with any of the talents. He was just so cool.
I completely agree with what he said. You know, that there was a time where anybody that was LGBT, like, that was kind of their shtick or their gimmick, and now it's like it's just a part of who they are as a person, that it's not necessarily factored into who they are as a wrestler.
Yeah, it definitely felt like that throughout the weekend, because there was no, this is our gay wrestler, this is our straight wrestler, here's our black wrestler, our white wrestler. It was just, here's a whole bunch of wrestlers, they're going to do some cool stuff, and y'all are going to love it. And that's kind of the vibe.
Right.
And
yeah, he seems like a really cool person.
He has a lot of energy.
Shouts out to Kiera Hogan, because she was there and I got a chance to get her autograph and talk to her. And right now she's a free agent. So she's still finding her place, but she is so young and talented. Like, this young lady got out there, and just for her being her age, and she knows what she wants to do. I can see it in her eyes. She has a motivation and a passion, and she's gonna be something special. I'm waiting to see what promotion signs her up and picks her up and takes her to the next level, because she's ready. I'm proud of her.
Yeah.
So all in all, it was a pretty exciting weekend. I won't spoil anything for you for the Powerrr tapings. This week on Powerrr was interesting. We saw Trevor Murdoch give his first speech as the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. But I did want to mention, which you guys won't see, is at the very end of the tapings on Tuesday night, Trevor came out and shook everybody's hand and thanked everybody personally for supporting the NWA, for making the effort to be there for the weekend. And, you don't get to meet the world champion in a lot of other companies, and certainly not someone that comes out and thanks you personally. So I don't know,
Yeah.
Trenda, Neil, like, what did it mean to you guys to be part of that?
Well, me personally, my left and my right hand shook Trevor's hand. So, but in the same sense, though,
Yeah.
the NWA overall, like, just as Farmer said, for him to come out and just literally each and every person that's in that audience, just thank us. And you can see the sincerity in his heart, his voice. It almost just like it's almost he's a whole different person from maybe the person on Thursday to the person when he became the champion. Because he's already wearing it like a badge of honor. You can see that pride and that stature in him, and he's like, this is what I do. I'm gonna represent this belt. I'm gonna go out here and represent this company. And he was out there more than anybody. Like, even in between tapings and everything, he's out there pumping the crowd up. He's making everybody feel at home. He's giving us direction. It's like, this man is awesome, and I was one of the main ones rooting for him. I thought it was time. I'm an Aldous fan, but I thought it was time, and I'm just really glad that he is representing the company. I think they made a tremendous decision, and he's gonna be great. And I hope he has a long reign. Long.
Neil?
To say what Trenda said about the hand and the coming out and during the tapings and in between and everything. A very nice guy. And what made me like him even more, how you said how he delivered his first on screen, and then once they cut the camera after the first on screen, he talked to us, and he came out and he knew when the cameras were on and not on, and he was just amazing. And the promo that you, me, Mrs. Front Row, and Trenda got to hear on Tuesday, that he cut just to us to thank all of us, was amazing. And how Trenda said how he hit both of her hands. He hit one of my hands, and he was just so nice, and he just couldn't stop thanking us, because he realized as much hard work as we put in for being there, and we back to him all 4 nights. It made me a fan even more of his. Like every person that I saw and that we talked to or talked to us as an audience, just made me a fan of theirs even more. And I couldn't be happier that I was able to be there all 4 days.
Wow. I want to reiterate one thing that Todd said in the YouTube chat. You guys have done such a great job of representing the Nation's Corner and this group at at multiple NWA events and the Mission Pro events that you go to. And, you know, there's going to be a little group of us at pretty much everything from now on, it seems. And I, you know, as jealous as I am that I couldn't be there, I am so incredibly happy for you guys that you have that memory, that, you know, we are creating these memories within our group and with these friends that we have found through this crazy world of wrestling. But the whole weekend, we kept saying over and over and over again, like, I'm so happy that they're there. I'm so happy that they got to be a part of this.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Deb. I think, you know, one of the things we talked to Mark Henry about when we saw him last spring was that we try to be a group of positive and uplifting wrestling fans, right? We're not online bitching and moaning, complaining about every storyline. We talk about stuff privately and whatnot, but we're never going to go online and trash a wrestler because they missed a move or whatever. Yeah. I think we've tried as a group, all of us in small groups and larger groups, to elevate the people around, the people that do the actual work. Like, we're just sitting in the stands, we're just sitting in the chairs in the audience. But if we can go there and bring some energy for 4 days and maybe have a sore throat and sore hands for a few days, it's the least we can do for folks who wrestled. Some of these folks wrestled twice, 3 times a day for 4 days.
Yeah.
Like, it was a compact schedule. So yeah, I mean, that's so, and I agree with you. Like, I was very proud as an NWA fan to see Trenda and Neil get a chance to enjoy this live for the first time and to see what the hashtag NWA fam is actually all about.
Exactly.
Yeah. I really hope that I will be able to go to some of these things. I'm not sure if I'm going to make December. We'll see. But
we'll get you there.
But one of these times, yeah, I feel like it's starting to become a pilgrimage. And I think I used that word in one of my tweets, like that it's something that we all have to experience at least once.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean,
absolutely.
You know, we got some other things coming up soon. We're meeting up in a couple of weeks, right? Going up to Philly for Ring of Honor to the 2300 Arena, which is gonna be something amazing. Like, that's one of my bucket lists. You know, I'm on the West Coast, so I don't get all the fantastic things that are like Madison Square Garden and all of this. So I'm like really looking forward to that and the memories there and just seeing you guys. So yeah.
I live an hour and a half north of Philly, and I've never been to the ECW Arena. So I'm extremely excited. That's something that I had said to Seth last year. You know, when wrestling comes back full force, I want to go to a show at the ECW Arena. And here we are, 2 weeks. It's gonna happen.
2 weeks. Just really quickly, you know, just on a personal note, I like to give a shout out to the Cowboy James Storm and JTG for making my weekend much better, you know. So just on a personal note, I'm gonna go ahead and post my picture up in our elite. But yeah, just on a personal note, shouts out to you guys. You're awesome.
Yeah, so Trenda was very tired at the end of the 4th night, and it was exhausting, and her hands hurt. And one of the producers actually brought her a lozenge. True story. But as soon as the Cowboy peeked out through the curtain, and he came out and asked her for a picture, boy, was she awake. She was ready to go. It was energizing. It was exciting to see her get so happy.
Aww. That's amazing.
Well, I know we've run long. I want to thank everybody for hanging in with us tonight. Just a couple of quick things. So the crowds for the pay-per-views were amazing. The crowd for the fourth night of Powerrr was amazing. On the first night of Powerrr, there were some drunken fans who weren't necessarily NWA faithful, whether they were walk-ups or hotel guests or whatever, I don't know. But they definitely tried to make the show about themselves, and it made it difficult. So I'm hoping that we continue as a group and as a larger group in the Busted Open Nation, continue to be good fans, boo the bad guys, cheer the guy, cheer the good guys, like do all those things that make the show better, but try not to hijack a segment, especially when you're 10 feet away from someone giving a promo and they're trying to make a TV show. Like, have some brains. So that was frustrating, but again, the second night of tapings was incredible because we got to sit in a section where we were with the producers and some of the NWA staff, and we were just super loud, and the energy was where it was supposed to be. So I also wanted to make sure we give a shout out to Gary Horn, to Will Martin, and Doc Stinson, who were so good to us this weekend. The
Thank
NWA
you,
folks.
Trio. Thank you.
Yep. So we're looking forward to seeing them again in December, maybe before that, who knows. There's some stuff coming up in September here in South Carolina. So anything else that you guys wanted to add before we wrap up tonight?
Just be awesome. As I think I ended the show with the same sentiment a few weeks ago. Go to shows, be fans, be great, make the show better with our energy.
Yes, I had an amazing time. Looking forward to the next couple of weeks. Like I said, Philly. We got some things coming up in Baltimore where we're going to be like amazingly thick together. I'm looking forward to seeing my family soon. I miss you all.
Yeah. Just overall, just pure excitement and enjoyment, and just go out and enjoy wrestling. Enjoy wrestling and just enjoy the show. Don't try to hijack it. Just be a normal fan and enjoy what you're watching.
Yeah, I would agree. And I did want to add, Mrs. Front Row did point out that Billy Corgan came out at the end of the tapings and told us that they're in discussions to make this an annual event at the Chase based on the success of this weekend. So he did say that we could say that publicly. It's not officially, set in stone, but it looks pretty good. So it looks like they're going to be able to do that every year. And as you saw in my interview with Mickey, hopefully Empowerr will be an annual part of that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, folks. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight and dealing with all these technical issues. We're going to put the interviews up in clips on our YouTube page individually over the next day or so. And everybody have a great rest of your weekend. Stay safe
Later, guys.
and enjoy.